Hello, everyone. It's time for Vanishing Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. I'm your host, Pete Costanas. This is episode 284, season 12. Today's date is December 9th, 2023, and welcome to the show. On today's program, I'll do something, not normally about, Vanishing Chicagoland, but I felt that I should talk about these subjects. First one, I'm going to talk about my tribute and my memories of watching the TV shows that were created by Norman Lear. He just passed away this week. He was 101 years old. He lived a long life, and he cranked out some classics. For example, All in the Family, Maude, The Jeffersons, Good Times, Sanford and Son, you name it. I will go through the list, and I will talk about my memories of watching those shows and some of my favorites of my shows and episodes. Also, I'll do another tribute to actor Ryan O'Neal. He just passed away yesterday. He was 82 years old. Talk about his movies. I think I saw maybe one in the theater, probably. I'm trying to remember. And he was on TV as well. All right. Right now, the program will go into a commercial break. And this program is brought to you by Radio Shack. And it's a walkie-talkie commercial. Remember those? And here's a commercial from 1976. It's a Christmas commercial. Okay, so sit back and relax. And I'll be right back with the show, folks. Thank you.
Here's a space-age gift for kids from Radio Shack. The original Space Patrol walkie-talkie. You get two for just $14.95 a pair, and they really work. They're crystal-controlled and battery-operated, just like Dad's bigger CB units. And they're built in Radio Shack's own electronics factory. So this Christmas, thrill your kids with a $14.95 a pair Space Patrol. Only at Radio Shack. A Tandy company.
Okay, everyone, I am back. I hope you enjoyed the commercial for Radio Shack. Oh, I miss the store. I really do. It's still around in a way. It's an e-commerce store now. You buy things online. It's not like in the old days where you walk in, you buy radios, of course. Any supplies. Like, for example, something for your phone, any equipment you need, like that. It first started by two brothers. Their names were Theodore and Milton Deutschman, something like that, from 1921. Okay. And it was founded in Boston, Massachusetts. Ran for a long, long time. Their headquarters was in Fort Worth, Texas. And they had their catalogs, which I remember that. That was kind of cool. And then in 1959, they moved to, it was in Boston. And then before that was somewhere else. I don't know where. And then it was bought by a company called the Tandy Company, and you used to see those on commercials. It ran. The Tandy Company ran for about 20 years. Yeah, we used to see those commercials all the time, And the last thing I bought from Radio Shack, I remember I bought a landline extension cord. So that was like a long time ago. I still have a landline phone. Some people do, some people don't. You never know. That's from my mom, so she needs that. Yeah, because she doesn't have a cell phone. No, I'm not going to go into that. So anyway, let's see. And you know what the funny thing is about it? They had their own product. It was a radio. It was only AM. It was called Flavo Radio, and that sold for about from 1972 to 2008, and came in different colors like that. I never owned this radio, but I sort of remember that. Also, they had CB radios. Remember those in the 70s? I talked about it on a previous podcast episode. They had tape recorders. Now, this commercial from 1976, the man who's speaking, that's actor Paul Burke. He was in a lot of TV shows. I think, let's see, he was in Naked City in the 60s. Let's see what else. He was on Dynasty. Did a lot of guest stops, Love Boat, Fantasy Island, you name it, Aaron Spelling Productions, like that. And the walkie-talkies, I did own a walkie-talkie. I don't know who bought it for me and my brothers. I think my dad or my mom. I'm not sure. We had them in the early 70s when we lived in the Roseland neighborhood. And we played around for a little while. It was fun. And it was kind of, staticky. You could still, these days, I think you could do it with your phone, like your cell phone. I never done that with my cell phone. Now, people text now. Sometimes they call, but usually texting. You just look at your phone and read your messages like that. And then, it just went out of business. Everything changed. But I still miss it. And I remember the Radio Shack that was in Fort City shopping center on the Southwest Side. I remember that one. They were all over the place. I think there was one on 95th and Cicero. I remember that. Also, there was one in Chicago Ridge Mall, right there. So they just disappeared. Yeah, that's a shame. Okay. At the beginning of the program, I'm going to talk about my tributes to Norman Lear and Ryan O'Neal. With Norman Lear, I'm going to talk about the TV shows he created and my memories. Before I get started, I'll talk about one thing. Tomorrow, I will do another podcast episode, I think. If not Tuesday, I will talk about a special anniversary that I'm not happy about, but I feel I'm compelled to talk about it. So we'll see. And something else, I'll give it some thought. Just give you a heads up. Okay. All right, so let's get started. We're going to talk about Norman Lear. And Norman Lear was a screenwriter, producer, and he created over 100 shows. He was famous for shows that were political and social themes that were very common back then and even today, and he created the first hit that did that sort of thing. Excuse me, was the 1971 sitcom All in the Family. But here's something I forgot that he also did. His first TV show was not All in the Family. It was a Western that came out in 1957, a TV Western that is. It was called The Deputy, and it starred Henry Fonda. He wasn't really in all the shows, but he was there. I have the DVD, and it's pretty good because Henry Fonda was a big movie star, and he, I don't know how he was convinced to do the TV show, but that's great. So far, I've watched a few episodes on the DVD. It was pretty good, like I said. And then he just did, he was writing. Also, he was a film director. He also two movies that I remember watching. One was, actually, his first sitcom was not All in the Family. It was a sitcom in the 50s called Honestly Celeste, starred Celeste Holm. She was a movie actress, and she was also a producer of the Martha Ray Show. Remember the taking from the Big Mouth, like that. And the two movies that he produced and wrote was a 1967 movie, Divorce American Style, and that starred Dick Van Dyke and Debbie Reynolds. I saw this movie once, and it was kind of depressing because it was about divorce, and it was funny, but not really. But it really hit home to most people, and it was a big hit. Maybe I'll see it again. I saw it a long time ago, but it was divorce is not a happy subject. It never is. And the other movie he directed was a 1971 movie, Cold Turkey. And I remember this one. This one I liked. And this is about, it was based on a book. It was about a town where they're trying to give up smoking. And it's like they would get some, I don't remember the whole plot, but I remember everyone was going nuts because they were going through nicotine withdrawal. And Nick Van Dyke was in the movie too, and they had a big, huge cast like that. And it went very well. It really did. Bob Newhart was in it, Tom Poston. And I remember watching this movie on Channel 2, the late movie, the Late Show. Remember they showed that on 10:30. It was like Saturday night, and I watched it, and I'm sure it was edited, but it was great. Yeah, I like that movie. And around that time, they banned the cigarette advertising. And then a lot of people were quitting, still are, just like that. But so if they so that was good. That was a hit. I like that movie a lot. And then he tried to create another. No, then he created a sitcom based on a blue collar worker, which was All in the Family, and that was based on a British sitcom called Till Death Us Do Apart. And that was the same thing, and it was the same thing. Only the names were changed, and I've seen it once, and it's funny, but it's some of the English, like the way they do, how they talk, and how they act. It's different like that, but you get the idea. So, and then so All in the Family premiered January 12th, 1971. I never saw it when it aired. No, I saw it later, like that. It wasn't a big ratings grabber, not really, and they had, they had so much fanfare, and it starred Carol O'Connor as Archie Bunker, Gene Stapleton as Edith Bunker, Sally Struthers as Gloria Stivic, their daughter, and Rob Reiner, Michael Stivic, Meathead. And they tackled a lot of subjects, and and that Archie Bunker was a bigot, and he had a big mouth and like that, and everybody had someone like that in their family, and it's fun. It was funny, but kind of shocked. But a lot of people find it disturbing, or like they didn't like him because he's too loud, or they didn't agree with him. But Carol O'Connor was a very nice man. Off stage, from what I heard, he loved doing the part. He loved doing this part, and it ran for till about 8 years, and then it changed to Archie Bunker's place. The Gloria My Stick with it left 1978. And then Edith Bunker, Gene Stapleton stayed for a couple years, and then she went to Archie Bunker's place for about a year, and then they killed off her character. Well, she wanted to leave, or I don't know. I guess she wanted to. And I remember the episode where he was crying over her death, and it was heartbreaking. And sometimes All in the Family was funny, sometimes it was sad. It's a great show. Once the reruns came, it's a classic. Everyone loved it. It's so funny. And then they had some classic episodes, like for example, the Jeffersons Move Next Door, like that. Or there's so many. There were so many of that. Or when Gloria had the baby and all that, et cetera, like that. Okay, and then right now I'm going to talk about their spin-offs. Now, one spin-off was Maud, and that was Edith Bunker's cousin, and it was played by B. Arthur. Oh, she's great. When she first appeared on that show, instant star, and her and Archie were battling out, yelling. That is hilarious. But they have so much in common, and the audience reacted very favorably well. So they offered her a show. She took it, and she started in 1972, and that was based in Tuckahoe, New York, upstate, very upper class suburb. Had Bill Macy as Walter, and Andrea Barbeau as Carol, her daughter, and Maud was married 4 times, and also in the cast was Esther Roll, played by is Florida Evans. She played the maid. She was popular too, which goes to show you she got her own show as in Good Times. And that was a spinoff, and that started in January 1974. But the funny thing is, it was not set in New York. It moved to Chicago, and was in the projects, just like Cabrini Green. Uh, and some of it was unrealistic, but it was funny. Due to the stardom of Jimmy Walker of J.J. Evans, who made faces all the time, all kinds of sayings. It was so funny. He's not really an actor, he's a comedian, but he made the show so much enjoyable, with the other kids, Thelma and Michael and Winona next door, which barged in all the time, like that. And I love the show. I like all of them so far. All the Family, Good Times, Maud, and then another spinoff came from All the Family, The Jeffersons, starring Sherman Hemsley and Isabel Sanford. They moved from Queens, next door from Archie Bunker, to the Upper West Side with Winona singing the theme song. We're moving on up to a nice deluxe apartment. Oh, the apartment was beautiful, and it was hilarious. George Jefferson was a bigot too, but he was funny, and he said all kinds of things. He acted like a child sometimes. He was perfect. Sherman Hemsley was perfect in the role, and I enjoyed the show very much. I like when he had traded barbs with Florence, the maid, played by Marla Gibbs from Chicago, like that. Then he created, and then Norman Lear created another show. It was not a spinoff. It was One Day at a Time. That was 1975, and this was set in Indianapolis, starred Bonnie Franklin. It had 2 daughters, Mackenzie Phillips, Valerie Bertinelli. I like the show. There was a lot of yelling. A lot of yelling in that show. Oh my God. Like that. In between those, he created another show called Hot Old Baltimore. It's based on a play or a musical. I've seen it, and it was kind of risque, but it only lasted a year. So I've never seen it when it aired. Also, he also created another strange show, which a lot of people remembered. It aired on Channel 32 every night at 10 o'clock. It was heavily promoted. It was called Mary Hartman, Mary Hartman, and it starred Louise Lasser. And, she had pigtails. She wore this Raggedy Ann dress and all that. And she was worried about her yellow, waxy build-up floor. And she was having a crisis, one after the other. And there were some weird characters on. I liked the show. I really did. I watched it. It was like a soap opera. Sometimes you liked it, sometimes you didn't. It's on DVD if you're interested. Other shows he created: The Dumplings. That was like a one season. All's Fair. That was based in Washington D.C. That was with Bernadette Peters and Richard Crenna. Michael Keaton was in that show. That's one of his early shows. Also, Nancy Walker show, starring Nancy Walker, Rhoda's mom. Also, there was another show that premiered on Channel 32, All That Glitters, and that one was kind of bizarre. That was I remember watched it. It didn't last long, and of course that was heavily promoted. Also, there was another spin-off from Mary Hartman, Fernwood Tonight, and then it turned into America Tonight. Okay, so I'll go down the list really quickly. Then there was Different Strokes. It wasn't that controversial. That was star Conrad Bain with Gary Coleman. What you talk about, Wills? I love that. And then there was Hanging In. That starred Bill Macy. That lasted a few episodes. The Baxters, Palmerstown, USA. Also, AKA Pablo. My brother remembers this show. That was in the 80s. And then there was Sunday Dinner, The Powers That Be, and 704 Houses Street, based on Archie Bunker's house. And the guy who lived there was John Amos, who played James Evans from Good Times. He lived in the house, but he played a different character. Like that. Okay. Okay, right now I'm going to play a promo of Maude from Channel 66 WGBO. That's from 1988. You will hear B. Arthur, saying her famous line. And after that, we're going to talk about my tribute to Ryan O'Neal. Okay? So sit back and relax, everyone. I'll be right back. Thank you.
Tonight at 8, an innocent man returns from prison to a small town with a big secret. Chuck Connor stars in the propane comedy Tonight at 8 on Super 66. Weeknights at 10, drop in on the golden girl of late night comedy.
I hope you didn't have any trouble finding us.
Oh, no, ma'am. I heard you all the way from the bus stop.
Fussy, feisty, and just a little irrational.
I am not irrational.
But she's always on top.
So what, Maud? You told me 100 times you want to feel possessed.
Walter Finley, I never said that standing up, and you know it.
Maude, weeknights at 10 on Super 66.
God will get you for that.
Okay, everyone, I'm back. I hope you enjoyed the promo for Maude on WGBO Super 66. Right now, it's a Spanish station. It has been for a long time. She had that famous line, God will get you for that. Of all the Norman Lear shows that I watched when I was growing up for the TV, Maude is my favorite. It's my absolute favorite. All in Family, Jeffersons, One Day at a Time. I like them all, but Maude's my favorite. And then B. Arthur later starred in The Golden Girls, another favorite of mine. She's a toned down Maude. Still funny. She was still funny. Classic. And Rue McCallican went over there. She was Vivian on the Maude. She was Blanche Devereaux on Golden Girls. Way different character like that. And like I said, Maude is my favorite show of all those. And then later on, Norman Lear, recently they rebooted the shows and then they made them live on TV. I saw a few of them. They were okay. They did All in the Family, The Jeffersons. Did they do Maude? I don't remember. Good Times, of course. I saw that. And then they did a reboot of One Day at a Time with a Cuban family, I think. I didn't see it. It's on Netflix. It ran for, a couple of years or something like that. Then he just didn't do much. But what a long resume this man had. Bringing those classics to television and everywhere. Including to me and everyone else when we grew up watching in the 70s, with our either black and white or color, like that. And with their hot topic issues, Mud had a lot of those. Yeah. So they're on DVD. You could stream them if you like. I have most of them on DVD. So God bless him. He was a great man. He really was. His mind was sharp. Oh my God. I've seen him on interviews. It was like amazing, amazing memory. Okay. Right now, I'm going to talk about Ryan O'Neal. And he just passed away yesterday at the age of 82. He was a movie actor for a long, long time. And so I'll give you where he was born and how his career started. He was born April 20th, 1941, born in LA. And then he started acting. First, he did television. And believe it or not, my brother pointed this out, that he was in Leave It to Beaver. And and I saw one episode and he was there. Yeah. That's that's interesting, But his first acting role in television was Dobie Gillis, starring Dwayne Hickman. Got that on DVD. Also, he was on The Untouchables, My Three Sons. Did some westerns like The Empire. Excuse me, not Empire. That other one that's went off the air recently. This is another show. The Virginian. He was on Wagon Perry Mason, and then he got the starring role in the nighttime soap Peyton Place. That was based on the novel of the same name that came out in in their 50s, but they made a movie about that in 1957. That starred Lana Turner. I liked that movie. That was a good movie. That starred Lana Turner. I think his character was in it. I forgot who played him. And he was there through the entire run, basically. And his role was Rodney Harrington. And that show aired like twice a week. And that's where his stardom started. Excuse me. So like that. And then, so it ran for 4 years, like that. I think so. Yeah, about 4 years or something like that. And let's see what else. No, 5 years. Excuse me. Yeah, I went for 5 years. And it's also starred Mia Farrow. She was in this show. She left before him. Then he started in the movies. His famous movie was Love Story. That was with Ali MacGraw, and that was a very sad movie. He did bit parts before, but when he started Love Story, this took him to movie stardom. He was on that was his meal ticket, and then he started in other movies like that. My favorite Ryan O'Neal movie was What's Up, Doc? I love that movie. It's a screwball comedy. It's with Barbara Streisand and Madeline Kahn. It is nuts. It is nuts. And first time I saw it on TV when I was about 10 years old, and it was the funniest thing I ever saw. He played a doctor. So that's why Barbara Streisand called him "What's Up, Doc?" And it's funny. It really was. And he also started in Paper Moon. That was in black and white. He started with his daughter, Tatum O'Neal. Barry Lyndon. That was a good movie. The movie I saw in the theater was The Driver. A lot of people don't remember that movie. I saw it in Fort City. It's a good movie. He starred in it. It starred Ryan O'Neal, Bruce Stern, and not a great hit, but it was a good movie. And I saw it in Fort City. I liked it in the big screen. It was great. Next is he did Oliver's Story. That was the sequel. That was when his wife, Ally McGraw's character died. She of illness. He also starred the main event again with Barbara Streisand. He was a boxer, but he was an amateur boxer. Yeah, he was an amateur boxer. And then he started in So Fine. I remember that. It came out in 1979. It wasn't that great like that. And he started in the 80s, and then his film career sort of kind of dripped out. Then he started another movie called Chances Are, and he made a comeback. That movie, I saw that in the theater, I think. Yeah, I think I did. And that started with Sybil Shepherd, and they were good together. Also, he was in Irreconcilable Differences. I can't say that word. That started with Shelley Long, and that was a hit, because Shelley Long was big in Cheers, like that. And then he just didn't act much because, he had his girlfriend his girlfriend Farrah Fawcett, and they were like a super couple. They were always together and all that. They've known each other for a long time. And then, he did some more television later on, and then he was diagnosed with leukemia. And that was in 2001, and he struggled. He was doing fine, and then Farrah Fawcett, was diagnosed with cancer, and she passed away. And then I found out, which I totally forgot, he was diagnosed with prostate cancer, like I was, and that was in 2012. And so first it was stage 4, and then later he said it was stage 2. So I don't know, but he did have that. I don't know if he had it removed or he was going through chemo, radiation, no idea. I don't know. And so we don't know the cause of death, what happened. It could be the complications of the both diseases. Well, we'll find out soon, because it just his illness was just announced yesterday. I mean, his death was announced yesterday. He had 4 children. Um, 2 were actors. Especially Tatum. She's the most famous one of all. They didn't have the easiest relationships. I'm sorry, he didn't have the easiest relationships with, with his kids. I don't know. It was them. It was him. So I don't know. Yeah, his life was a mess, really. But as an actor, I liked him a lot. He really was. Especially his movies. In the '70s. They're classics like that. I like Paper Moon, but my favorite, like I said before, was What's Up, Doc? Yeah. And so that's it. Okay. All right. So that's it for this show. I'll do a recap of what I talked about. I talked about my tribute, my memories of watching TV shows created by Norman Lear. Also, the other tribute for actor Ryan O'Neal. This podcast will be published later on today. You can find them wherever podcasts are available: Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Breaker, Overcast. Just hit the subscribe button, or you can follow. You'll be notified. Also, it'll be on my blog, vanishingogland.blog. You can find it there as well. Also, on my YouTube channel. That's the easiest way to find my podcast. You can listen to previous episodes. Just hit subscribe. You'll get a notification when the new episode is ready. You can listen to previous episodes if you like. Also, it'll be posted on my social media accounts: Facebook, X, Reddit, LinkedIn, Threads, and Instagram. You have the link. Okay. All right. So This is Speak Assange, your host for Van Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. Thank you for joining me. I will probably do another podcast episode tomorrow. It's something very special to me, what I'm going to talk about. Also, I will do something Christmassy. It's the Christmas season, so I'll talk about that when the special anniversary, and also something that has to do with Christmas. Something uplifting because 'tis the season. Okay, so here's bye bye for me, and here's Ray Rayner with a little traveling music saying bye bye bye. Take care, everyone, and so long.
We have to go. Bye, bye, bye.